So the last couple of weeks have been much different, not only for myself, but for everybody. Our routines are upside down and turned around, and I noticed that even as our daily structure had gotten completely disrupted, I started looking at, okay, what things can I do to have some level of my normal, and for me, that normal was regarding my self-care. So my mornings were going through a certain routine of my exercise routine and my stretching and my meditation, and then as I was preparing for the day, and then in my case, because of being able to do digital counseling, then I'd start seeing my clients through telehealth, through my meetings through Zoom, or some meetings I did still have in person with some of my staff. Well, Wednesday morning I woke up and I noticed that there was this funk that I was in, and I couldn't really put my finger on what it was, except I noticed that I didn't necessarily think I knew what day it was, because it had seemed like for the last few days everything was the same, and a thought popped to my mind: is this like that movie Groundhog's Day, that every day seemed to be the same day, that I'm used to being an extrovert, I'm used to being around people and getting the energy from people, and I haven't been able to do that in the same capacity as before. So I continued. There was a part of me that wanted to just to go back into bed, just go and sit, and I said I was going to go and meditate. The idea I probably would be go and sulk or go and just sit and be pout, I guess. And I decided that I was just going to continue pushing through with my stretching, with my exercises. And about 20 minutes into it or so, I noticed that something was lifting. My head was starting to clear, and I noticed that this lifting was happening. My energy was getting better, and that fog or that funkiness had dissipated. I thought to myself later in the day as I was reflecting on that, if that was happening with me, how many more people does that happen with? I'm wondering that right now in our modern day lifestyle, our number one drug of choice has been taken from us: busyness. We have a tendency to get busy to avoid what may be going on. That what might be underneath, that we distract ourselves with this busyness. I was listening to a friend of mine the other day talk about that she's been having more nightmares. And then as she talked about having more nightmares, other individuals were commenting about that they had an increase in disturbing dreams as well. Is it possible that our normal busyness that we do to distract ourselves is what's causing our unconscious to have these dreams? I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's some definitely a possibility with that. What I know about dreams myself is that it is our unconscious attempting to resolve something that's unresolved in our conscious state. So our unconscious, our dream state, is attempting to resolve something in our unconscious. In our unconscious, we're trying to resolve something that's unresolved in our conscious state. And I think right now, with the fear of the unknown, not knowing what is happening with our daily routine, I think this is a very good possibility of what's happening. I think this idea of not trying to avoid those feelings, but actually sit in them and go into it. For me, the exercising and not avoiding it was part of it. It cleared my head. Another thing that I would encourage people to do is, as you're looking at that uncomfortable feeling or whatever it is, instead of trying to make it go away, maybe we need to capture it either through writing or some other form of expressing it, first acknowledge what is that top feeling that's happening, and is there some underlying feeling, a secondary feeling that may be underneath it. Many times, for example, that irritation or that frustration or that anger is the primary feeling that I'm feeling, but underneath it, there may be a secondary feeling. Maybe it's anxiousness, maybe it's uncertainty, or maybe it's sadness. But if I go underneath it a little bit farther, I have a better idea of being able to experience it. And if I'm experiencing it, instead of just trying to get rid of it, maybe it doesn't have as much power as I thought it was. This morning, similar type of thing. I'm feeling the heaviness of some uncertainty again coming up on a Monday morning, and as I sat in it and went into it, what I recognized is that it had to do with more of a sadness than it had to do with a fear. And I just sat in that sadness. It wasn't for any particular thing. It was just sitting in that sadness, and then it passed. It moved on. Again, I would encourage us, as those feelings are coming up, to move into the feelings instead of trying to make them go away in some aspect of it. Maybe capture them, embrace them, either by writing, by expressing them in some other type of form, so that it doesn't come out sideways as if in our dreams or in some other way.